Hello and welcome. This video is on how to use a laptop or a desktop as a power source for simple circuits. How to use a laptop or a desktop as a power source for simple circuits. Many times we do experiments in the lab. I want to focus on electricity experiments where a battery is required. Many times this voltage from the battery comes from two dry cells which are connected in series, or three dry cells connected in series. If two dry cells are connected in series, they give you a voltage of 3 volts. If three of them are connected in series, they give you 4.5. This voltage, which is obtained from this battery, is usually unstable. What do I mean by that? It decreases with time as you do the experiment because the battery ran out of power. A laptop or a desktop is a very common feature for most labs, offices, and homes. Individual students nowadays have laptops even in the lab. Have you ever thought of using this laptop as a source of power for your small circuits, for the experiments which you are doing? Because the experiments which you are doing don't require a lot of voltage. Have you ever thought how you can get a voltage, a DC voltage from this laptop? In this video, I'll show you how you can use the laptop or a desktop as a source of electric power of up to 5 volts. So let's first of all look at an experiment which you might want to carry out. Maybe you're investigating Ohm's law. You want to investigate how the current through a particular device varies with voltage across it. And maybe the device would be a fixed resistor, it could be a bulb, it could be a metallic conductor, and so forth. You also need a rheostat. You need connecting wires, you need a switch, and a battery. This is the battery that I was talking about. Our concern is this particular battery. So instead of having this battery here, okay, let's see how we can use the Arduino. For example, in this circuit, I've taken the same circuit and connected one wire from one of the pins of the Arduino, which could be, for example, pin number 9, and I connect that pin as the positive terminal. And then the other terminal is connected to the ground, this pin over here. Now, let's remove the battery from this particular circuit, but then connect a voltmeter here, or a voltmeter here, or even a voltmeter across this point and this point. If I want to measure the voltage that is being generated by this particular point, I will connect a voltmeter at this point and at this point. This point happens to be exactly this point, and this one is at the same potential, 0 voltage, as this volt. So I'm going to connect my voltmeter here. That is not the voltmeter that is used to obtain the data. I just want to connect that voltmeter there so that I can be able to measure the voltage from the battery. That is what that voltmeter does. There is this other voltmeter which is not the concern of this particular video. We are not verifying Ohm's law. What we are doing is we are trying to see how can we use this Arduino to provide us with the required voltage instead of using dry cells, right? So let's look at a video where on one side I have the code that runs this particular pin and the voltmeter across the two terminals of the battery, or across the Arduino itself. And here we have the voltmeter. We are going to look at the voltmeter across the terminals of the battery. We can see that the voltage is changing from 0 to 5 volts. So it is 5 volts, that is, it is high for 1 second. And then it remains on for that 1 second, all right? So it is high and remains high for 1 second. And then it switches off and it becomes 0 and it remains 0 for a further 1 second. So the voltage keeps on fluctuating between 0 and 5. 0 and 5. This is the same voltage that was controlling the LED in my previous experiments. In my previous videos, I showed you an LED which is connected across the terminals, such a terminal, and the LED lit for 1 second and then remained lit for 1 second, and then it switched off, remained off for 1 second. The code that was controlling that particular pin was the same as this one here. So all I have done is that I've used the same code, okay? But then I want to introduce a global variable here, int positive terminal connected to pin number 9. All that I'm doing here is by introducing this global variable, I am giving a name to this particular pin, to pin number 9, and I want to call it positive terminal. This one is just a term that I've just decided to use. But this other term here in blue must be written int. It is an integer because it tells me that that global variable that I've introduced here is of the type integer. It is a number, right? So I have named it that way. And then I go to the setup, where now in the setup I want to initialize the pin, that pin number 9, which I have named as the positive terminal, that pin number 9 as the output, because it is where I'm going to get 5 volts. I'm going to get 5 volts from that pin. So I initialize it as the output, and it should give me positive 5 volts. Then now we go to the next function, the loop function. In the loop function, I want that pin 9 to be high, or rather in this particular code that is running this voltmeter here, the voltage is changing like this. That pin 9 is at positive potential of 5 volts for 1 second, 1000 milliseconds, and then it switches off to 0 and remains 0 for 1 second. So this is what is happening. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. In other words, it's just a square wave where it jumps from 0 to 5 within no time, and then it remains 5 volts for a duration of 1 second, 1000 millivolts. Then when it switches itself off, within no time it decreases from 5 volts to 0. Okay, it decreases to 0 and it remains 0 for a further 1 second. That is why the LED was able to light when it was 5 volts, and then the LED went off when the voltage was 0. Right? So we're going to play around with this code. What would happen if I reduce the time for which it is off to be half a second? That is 500 milliseconds. Let's see what happens. Let me upload that sketch to my board. Keep a closer eye at the way the needle is fluctuating. Like that. Let's see whether there is any change. Let me upload that. And the code is now uploaded. See? It switches to 5 volts, remains 5 volts for 1 second, and then switches off and remains 0 for 0.5 of a second, half a second. Let me increase the time for which it remains 5 volts, positive 5 volts, and make it 2 seconds instead of 1 second. That is 5. Let me make it 2 seconds instead of 1 second. And then I upload that code once again. And now it is in use. You can see it remains on for 2 seconds, then switches off and remains off for 0.5 of a second. What would happen if I reduce the time for which it remains off to 0? that bracket there, I type 0. Let me see. What do you think is going to happen? Okay, let's see whether your answer is correct. Let me upload this sketch to the microcontroller and see whether your answer is correct. There. And it's done. You can see this time it goes to 5 volts, positive 5 volts, and it remains 5 volts indefinitely. And this is what we need. I need a constant voltage across the battery. Okay, I need constant voltage for the power source. And you can see the advantage here is that it is a clean DC. It does not fluctuate, it does not reduce. So long as the connections to the Arduino, they are firm, it just remains as 5 volts, constant throughout. Clean DC, direct current or direct voltage. And this is what I wanted. Where am I getting these 5 volts from? I'm getting it from my computer, from the USB port of my computer. So I can be able to use the USB port of my computer in combination with the Arduino as a power source for my circuits. So long as those circuits require small amounts of voltage, such as 5 volts. Most USB ports of most computers, they give you 5 volts DC. And I've been able to achieve my aim. Remember, the Arduino allows you to do a lot of prototyping. That is, to play around with gadgets and code so that we can be able to see what happens when we change the code. What happens when we connect it in a certain fashion. You see, in this particular experiment, I've been able to achieve something that is very fundamental and that is very important. I've been able to configure the Arduino, which is meant for prototyping. You know, to prototype means to play around with the code and the physical hardware to see how they are going to behave, different ways. So I've been able to use the Arduino meant for certain prototyping practices to achieve something that is very fundamental. And I've been able to use a laptop. Maybe you are a student out there, you're in the physics lab, and you wanted to do an experiment, but you didn't have a power source. Or maybe the power sources that are provided are not reliable. Like we have already said, that the voltage from such power sources keeps on decreasing, and this can affect the way your experiment will turn out to be. But you can use the USB ports to get a constant voltage, and in fact higher than the voltage you would get from 2 batteries or 2 cells, because this one gives you 5 volts DC, while 2 new dry cells, they'll give you 3 volts DC, right? So go ahead and try out something like this if you've got the Arduino. If you don't have one, make sure that you look for ways to purchase one, because if you're going to engage in prototyping practice, especially when you're in grade 10, where you will be expected to do a lot of investigations, for example, in electricity, a lot of investigations in electricity. You combine it with coding, you combine it with electronics, and you find that through that you're able to learn a lot of things all by yourself. So if you've got the Arduino, a laptop, go and try and configure any of the pins in order to get such a constant voltage. So you can see in this experiment, I've been able to achieve something that is very fundamental. I've been able to get a power source from my laptop. My laptop is acting as a power source for simple experiments that I might want to do in the lab. So go ahead and see whether you can write this code. You just need to copy it as it is, and then you just change these values and see how it behaves. If I change this one, the time for the delay, the trick is how you play around with time for delay time. When the pin is in a low state, when the pin is in a low state, that is 0 volts, how you can play around with the delay. Make the delay to be 0, but this one can be the delay for when the pin is high, can be anything. It doesn't have to be this high. I can even make it 500 milliseconds. It will be the same thing. Let me just change that and say 500 milliseconds, that it is on for 500 milliseconds. Upload the sketch. So briefly decreases to 0 and then jumps back to 5 volts. So the idea is to make this digital pin, because the clock that controls the pins is running. So at what rate is it going to run? So I've made it to remain high for half a second. But then when it is off, it is 0. So this value does not matter. Even if it is so small, I can even make it, let me make it 10 milliseconds. Very short. And then we see what we get. Of course, I can't make it 0. I can't make it 0. Can only reduce the time. So, and there we have it. Decreases to 0 and then jumps back and remains 5 volts throughout. So you can see this one can be as low as possible or even as high as possible. It really does not matter. But the delay time for when the pin is low must be 0. So go ahead and see whether you can achieve this. You can use a digital voltmeter to measure that PD between the pin and the ground pin, or you can use an analog voltmeter to do the same. And see you in the next video where we do more investigations.